Frank, you've been burning up the phone lines, working it, getting the text flying. Time for icebreakers delivered by DoorDash. The internet's been on fire about rumors of Claude Giroux and the Colorado Avalanche. Is there another team or teams that we should be keeping our eye on in the sweepstakes to get the Flyers captain?
Yeah, the Colorado Avalanche are certainly one, Mike, but I would keep an eye on the St. Louis Blues. They're a team that has been paying close attention to Claude Giroux and his season. What a fit he would be with the Blues. You talk about versatility, can play the wing, can play center. The Blues have found some success with those types of players over the year. And oh, by the way, there'd be a comfort factor that exists with the St. Louis Blues. Him having played for Craig Berube in Philadelphia, played with Braden Shen, of course. So those are a couple guys that stand out as comfort factors and can vouch for Claude Giroux and his ability to take the St. Louis Blues and turn them back into true contender status to come out of the Central and really give a team like the Colorado Avalanche, who, by the way, as we mentioned, are likely in pursuit of Claude Giroux. That would be fascinating to see both those two teams, at least for the Blues factor as well. If you don't get him, at least make sure that you bid up the price so that your division rival can't get him. So St. Louis Blues, a team to watch when it comes to talking about Claude Giroux as we get closer to the deadline.
Now, Giroux would come with a sizable cap hit, big one. And if the Avs are really interested, they're going to have to make some plays to fit him under the cap. So what would the Avs be willing to move in a deal?
Well, it's interesting. I think a lot of teams have been curious. What types of pieces do the Avs have to move? Just quickly, Alex Newhook doesn't appear to be going anywhere. Same thing with Tyson Jost. The young player that a lot of teams believe is available from Colorado, first-round pick in 2020, that would be Justin Barron, the defenseman, who's been about a half a point per game player in the American Hockey League, along with their 2023 first-round pick. Remember, Colorado doesn't have their first-round pick this year. They traded it to Arizona in exchange for Darcy Kemper. So 2023 first-round pick and Justin Barron, those are the two pieces that Colorado likely will be dangling before the deadline in order to make their team better.
We talked about Jack Eichel already in the show about making his return to the NHL, playing with the Vegas Golden Knights against the Avalanche this evening tomorrow night on national television. There's already been a little bit of blowback around the league regarding Mark Stone going to LTIR. Is that really a permanent solution for the Vegas Golden Knights salary cap problem? I mean, Stone's going to be on LTIR potentially into mid-March, which doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room until the trade deadline.
It doesn't, and it may be a permanent solution, but I don't think that the Golden Knights are necessarily content on that being the exact answer or path that they choose. At least for the very moment, it gives the Vegas Golden Knights a month, 10 games or 24 days. That's the minimum requirement for Mark Stone to be on LTIR. Can be retroactive to the injury that he sustained last week. So it could be as soon as they wanted to, essentially 3 weeks or so, give or take. But in this case, the Golden Knights aren't looking at it as a permanent solution because they continue to engage in conversation with other teams around the NHL about the potential of moving some cap space, moving some players in order to make it happen if indeed Mark Stone is healthy enough to come back. So Evgeny Dadonov is a name that's been circulated to a lot of teams around the NHL. At this point, there hasn't been a whole lot of interest. Next on the list, and this is just in order of priority that I believe the Golden Knights have in moving these players, next would be Riley Smith, the pending unrestricted free agent. I think he would be a nice fallback option for the New York Rangers, who are looking for a scoring winger. Smith, of course, has that history and has played some of his best hockey in his career under Gerard Gallant. They're looking at the Rangers, some other players, including JT Miller, which we've talked about. I wonder if the Rangers would be interested in a guy like Joe Pavelski, if the Dallas Stars are interested in moving him. But Riley Smith could be a fallback option, and depending if the price is right, might make a lot of sense. And then last would be Jonathan Marchessault. So I think he's the guy that the Vegas Golden Knights would least like to move of the three, but certainly would be generating some interest, I would think, given his consistent production and given his cost certainty that comes with the term that remains on his deal. So the Golden Knights continue to try. We'll see where it ends up. Maybe they just decide at the end of this, hey, Mark Stone's back is not getting better. We're going to keep him out until early May, and that'll be the first time that he returns in the playoffs. But in the meantime, they continue to remain in conversation with other teams.
A lot of decisions to make in Vegas. You might have to pay somebody to take Yevgeny Dodanov's contract on to get rid of that one. So let's flip it to Montreal. Ben Chiarot, somebody whose name's been commonly up in the trade talks, defenseman for the Canadiens. He's expected to miss a week or so with injury. Saw last year, defenseman David Savard. Tampa Bay Lightning had to cough up a first rounder for him. Tyler Toffoli just got a first rounder and then some from the Calgary Flames. So what kind of package are the Canadiens looking for in return for Ben Chiarot?
You actually hit it right on the head. It's the David Savard package that the Tampa Bay Lightning paid to get him to win their Stanley Cup. You're looking at a first round pick and a third round pick. That's the sort of baseline price that the Montreal Canadiens have in their mind at the moment when it comes to Ben Chiarot. I think the team that steps up to get them that package is where he'll end up going. And I think that injury over the weekend certainly put a scare into the Montreal Canadiens. We talked about this with Arpon Basu yesterday on the All 32. And, I asked the question, has Ben Chiarot played his last game as a Canadian? I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. At some point, he's going to need to get back and playing. They're thinking he's out about a week. But in the meantime, I think just another lesson as teams, you certainly may see it as we get closer to the deadline. Asset protection. Those are two words we're going to be hearing a lot. Potentially players sitting out. You do not want to take that risk when you have a high-priced or high-valued asset that your team's counting on moving.
Whole lot of pieces, whole lot of things to think about for these clubs moving forward here, Frank. And I think that this trade deadline could end up being pretty wacky, and it could happen earlier than we ever expected. Nice job on icebreakers, delivered by DoorDash. Look below us here, Frank. DFODD or DFODDUS. That's going to get people 25% off on their first order and free delivery. So thanks to DoorDash. Great job, Frank.